Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I'm going to be answering more questions that you guys have asked me. Now, in the past, I've made separate videos asking for your questions, but instead, for the next video, just leave your questions down in the comment section of this video. So right down below, just leave your comments, and I'll answer those in the next video. But, let's get started. So I have my bowl of questions, and let's see what you guys asked. This is from Fellbeat. I'm considering buying an RX7 later on for a second car, but what would I have to work on to make it somewhat reliable? Really, NA, naturally aspirated rotaries, are pretty reliable as long as you keep up with them. If they have an OMP, that's good. If they don't, you should premix. Really, as long as you buy it with lower mileage, they'll be pretty reliable as long as you don't do anything crazy. I can't really speak for, if you throw a 70mm turbo onto it, kind of diminishes the reliability a little bit. Immortalized said, "You work at Jiffy Lube, right? Do they really make you scam people out of their money?" I do work at Jiffy Lube, and no, I don't scam people out of their money. I know people at Jiffy Lube, not the one that I work at, but at other Jiffy Lubes, that's sort of, there was a huge investigation saying that they do that. I personally have never done that. I've never seen anyone at our Jiffy Lube do that. We really try not to scam people out of their stuff. If you pay for an air filter, we put the air filter in, that sort of thing. So, in my personal experience, no, we've never scammed people out of their money. Cameron Ray said, "How did you meet the Family Cruising Network?" So, as you guys know, I made a couple videos with Family Cruising Network. He has a Hellcat. His name's Paul. He's actually the cousin of a friend. So my friend Matt with the Crown Vic, it's his cousin. He introduced me. He said, hey, he has a Hellcat and wants to do Uber videos. So he picked me up one day. I had never met him before, and we made an Uber video that got quite a lot of views. Last time I checked, it was at like some 30,000 views. And then we made another Civic video. So you guys should check that out for sure, because those videos were a lot of fun to make. Ricardo, I can't pronounce your last name, I'm sorry. For the RX8 engine, what do you think about adding another rotor to the engine versus putting turbo or supercharger? Thanks, I'm a proud owner of a 2005 RX8. Well, first of all, hello, fellow rotary owner, but you can't really just add a rotor to an engine. You have to get a whole new setup pretty much, but I assume you just mean swapping 20B versus just putting a turbo supercharger on. It really depends on what you want. Turbocharger will be more of a surge of power, as where a 20B has been explained to me as more like a V8, where it's just like more power, instead where turbo is like, fine, and then power. It's, more linear, I guess. So it really depends on what you want to do, and I know 20Bs are very, very expensive. So if you're looking for cost effective, I would go turbo or supercharger. Never heard of a supercharged RX8 though. Oh wow. So Jack Lawrence says, I wanted an FB RX7 for a very long time, specifically something with a 12A, because I want something with hands-on experience, carburetors, and how to tune them, but I'm really undecided because I'm not sure if things are going by when Wow, that was almost one entire run-on sentence, but I get what he's saying. He's saying, would a 12A be a good first project car? And honestly, with enough willpower, you can get anything running. He said he's worried about if he would be wasting his time, and as long as the rotors are good and like all the parts are fine, you can get it running. I mean, as long as the rotors aren't rusted to the housings. If it is your first time, I would lean more towards getting an RX7 with a 13B, just because they are a little bit less worrisome with carburetors. But if you want to learn carburetors, 12As are the carbureted RX7 motors. So it's again really up to you, and I wish you the best. I hope you get your FB. I mean, obviously they're a lot of fun. Dylan asks, would you rather have a Gallo 12 or 24 in your Skyline? I didn't know pizza places made motors. Tyler asks, do you plan on turboing or supercharging your RX-7? No, not at the moment. With this FB, I've kind of planned on, once the 13B swapped, a few other modifications, and then I'm going to kind of be done with this RX-7. That's not to say I really want to get a second gen RX-7. I've actually been thinking about that a lot recently, of getting a second gen, and that one I want to build that one. So probably a turbo or supercharger for that. But my current FB, it's not in the plans. Josh Cook says, do you like a fried egg on your hamburgers? Yes. Actually, I just recently became a big fan of that. There's a place in Aurora, Illinois called Fox and Hound, and they have, I think it's a Sunrise Burger or something like that, where they have an egg on it, and that really put me on to loving eggs on my burgers. That place is really good. Aaron asks, which car do you feel would be best for a first-time project? I was thinking a Mark III or maybe Mark II Supra. Thoughts? Okay, so this kind of goes along with the carbureted question that was asked before, and I really actually was looking forward to answering this question. I get asked a lot, what would be a good first project car? What would be a good project car for someone who's inexperienced or whatever? And my answer to that is that the car does not matter. The one thing, well, I've learned a lot of things, but one of the biggest things that I've learned with swapping my RX-7 is that you have to be passionate about it. So if you get a car that you're passionate about, that's a good project car. Because there will be times in the project where your knuckles will be bleeding, you'll be tired as all hell, and you'll want to just quit. But that passion carries you along. My passion for my FB has carried me along. And so if you're not passionate about the car that you're working on, it's not a good project car. So if you're really passionate about Buick Grand Nationals and you get a Buick Grand National rolling shell for $2,500, that's a good project car for you because you're passionate about it. But if there's no passion, there's no point. And so just get whatever you feel passionate about. Whatever car you look at and makes you feel happy or brings you joy, then do that. If you really like Supras, which it sounds like you do, Aaron, get a Supra. I mean, build a Supra. Ricardo again asks, can you Bridgeport the RX-8 since it's a Renesis rotary, or do you think it's better for the RX-8 to gain power other than putting a turbo or supercharger on it? So he's the one that asked 20B or supercharger or turbo. I'm pretty sure you can Bridgeport RX-8s from what I... Wow, that was a voice crack. From what I understand, all rotaries are designed the same way, where you have the two rotor housings, a center plate and then outer plates, and those outer plates and center plate are what you Bridgeport or what you cut into. So from what I understand, you can Bridgeport RX-8s, although I don't have much experience with RX-8s, unfortunately. But yeah, Bridgeporting is definitely a way to make power, but it's a little bit different than a turbo. Michael asks, I'm looking into getting a Project 1985 RX-7 at the end of summer, but I'm having problems finding replacement parts. Any ideas where I can find them? My go-to is Atkins Rotary. They've been awesome with my build. They carry a lot of parts I wouldn't even think of. Like I said in my Rotary Life video, I bought like literally the bolts for the transmission. Just the bolts. They have OEM Mazda bolts in stock, which is crazy. So Atkins, there's Racing Beat, has more performance parts. Mazda Tricks, I know. And then there used to be Black Dragon, but unfortunately Black Dragon closed. Rusty Pizza 322 says, do you know any scary car stories? I would assume that would be my own experience, and I've been meaning to make like a long video just like talking about my car stories, but I have one story. I was a sophomore in high school. I just got my license, and I had my old white pickup truck, and it was really rainy one night, and there's like this abandoned road. There's like a ditch in between. A regular road, there's a ditch, and then this abandoned road. It makes like a T, but there's a ditch in between. And so my friend had a Chevy Silverado 4x4, so we went off the road and onto that abandoned road we were driving on or whatever. But I only have two-wheel drive, and it was pouring rain, so I got really nervous. I was like, oh crap, I don't want to get stuck out here, because we still had to make it through that ditch back out. So I was like, you know what? I'll just floor it. It'll be fine. I hit that ditch. I didn't look at my speedometer, but I got all four wheels off the ground of my 98 Ram, and that was one of the scariest moments. I landed fine. I broke a spring. Like the front left spring is pretty badly cracked. after that, but that was pretty bad, and I wrecked the front bumper a little bit, which was a month after I bought a new one. So $300 down the drain with that one. But that was very scary to jump a truck. Upchurch786 says, I have an 81 FB RX7 and I'm a high school student. What mods should I consider doing to my car? Honestly, as a high school student, you don't really need power. There's no reason you need to bolt on a turbo or anything like that. So I would really focus on the cooling system. It's a really overlooked part of the RX7. Upgrade your cooling system. Make sure you have a good radiator, good hosing, all that stuff. Because cooling is a huge part of rotaries. Rotaries need cooling. So that would be the best mod, I would say. Also, if you put a fart can on it, then you'll just piss off your neighbors. So if you really are itching to spend your money, I would definitely put it into a good cooling system. Also help out with the reliability and whatnot. Colin Pierce asks, how old are you and do you have any kids? I am currently, as of making this video, 19 years old, and I do not have any kids. I do not have a spouse. I'm not married. That won't be for a while. That will not be for a while. Redhead Gearhead said, if you had a 1995 BMW 318i, what would you do to it and why? Wow, that sounds oddly specific. But I would probably lower it, put it on wheels, nothing too crazy. If it were a hard top, I think they made 318. I can't remember what was the convertible. If it was a hard top E36, I'd prefer that obviously more. Yeah, just probably lower it, put it on wheels. I wouldn't do anything too crazy. I like the straight sixes in them. I actually have a review on my channel of a convertible one. Yeah, I wouldn't go too crazy with it. I'd probably drift it, honestly. Even though I said in the video that drifters are ruining these cars, I'd probably drift that car. Max Goldberg said, have you ever worried that swapping 13B into Rose would change her soul? I'm shopping for an FB and got a chance to drive a GS LSE and found that it didn't seem to be all that much more powerful, and the 13B's character was less effervescent, less eager than the 12A. I'm never really worried about that. I will be making about 10 more horsepower than the GS LSE. The GS LSE made 135 and I make 145. I do air quotes because these engines are, 30 years old actually, so there's probably going to be some horsepower loss, but I'm not going to have air conditioning or power steering, or actually we decided last night that we're not going to do the big fan, so that should add some more power. We're going to do electrical fans, so it should be making more power, and I think that was like what made the soul of the 12A, was that it was so not weighed down by everything else. So hopefully I'll retain that spirit with the 13B, as it's going to be pretty much unchained, if you will. Miata Matt says, what is the best Mazda and why is it the Miata? Well, Matt, I don't know if it would be the Miata. Honestly, I think, how do I say this without sounding biased? I think the first gen RX7 was the best Mazda in my opinion. It just felt so unchained, so connected to the road. That was about driving, and they made those cars for enthusiasts and no one else. I mean, the rotary engines take care, they take maintenance, but they're so much fun, and the suspension on RX7s is just awesome. They're really an enthusiast car, so I would say first gen RX7. I know that sounds super biased because I have one, but that's just my own opinion. Sean Piggott asks, are you planning to get a new daily, and if so, what are you thinking about getting? First of all, what's up, Sean? Has an ST and a Fox body Mustang. I'm stuck between getting an ST or Mazda Speed 3. Now, I'm not exactly in the market for a new daily, but my G6 is just so boring. I really need something else. So, definitely an ST or Mazda Speed 3. I just recently reviewed an ST. I liked it a lot, and then I actually learned how to drive stick shift on a first gen Speed 3. I've never driven a second gen, or at least not as of the making of this video. That might change. But yeah, I'm leaning more towards Mazda Speed 3, honestly, just because Mazda, but they're basically the same car. I mean, front wheel drive, 6-speed, turbocharged, ST's at 2.0, but the Speed 3 is at 2.3. John asked, should I turbo my truck or Procharge it? Depends on the truck. I always feel like turbo's more import, and then Procharge is more American or domestic. So if it's a Chevy, Dodge, or Ford, I would say Procharge, and then if it was like a Toyota Tacoma, I'd say turbo. I don't know. I don't know why I'm like that, but that's just my opinion. Lil Chef said, will you Fourrotor swap your car? No. I would absolutely love to, but I do not have anywhere near that kind of money. I think people fail to realize how much a Fourrotor is, because no car ever had one. Mazda made one for their race car, but that was a special built engine, and people have just been copying it pretty much. And last but not least, from Family Cruising himself, have you ever ran out of gas? What should you do to prevent running out of gas? Yes, I have. I've run out of gas once, and that was in my RX-7 back when it had the 12A. I was really angry one night, and I was just laying into it, and I passed someone on the road, and it was whoever I was mad at. I don't remember who I was mad at, but I passed them on the road. So I put the clutch in and revved it up and revved it and revved it and revved it. And I popped a couple little pops out of the back. I don't think it's full flames. And then it just died. And it went... And I was like, what? So I coasted it into the neighborhood. Tried to start it up. Nothing, nothing, nothing. My fuel gauge is terrible. It's not accurate at all. And yeah, I ran out of gas and had to call my parents to... My dad brought the truck over and... we filled up some gas. How to prevent running out of gas? Watch your fuel gauge. And don't rev it up so much. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section down below, and I'll be doing more of these as the year goes on. But again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.
There goes a sight from my soul.